The last German offensive of World War II was fought not to conquer territory or even to defeat an enemy, but in order to save lives. The curious operation came about during the terrible Battle of Berlin, the final important battle on the Eastern Front between Germany and the Soviet Union. But before we get into that, a quick word from our sponsor. Call of War World War II is a free online strategy game that gathers millions of players worldwide. You fight up to 99 other players in real time, games that can take weeks to complete. The game features World War II historically accurate maps and units that allows you to create your own path and rewrite history. Call of War World War II is fully cross-platform. Your objective is to take over the world, define your own strategy, build powerful armies by combining dozens of different unit types, and fight for world domination. I've set up a special game of Call of War for the first viewers that click the link in the description. Go to the website or app, type my name in the search bar and enter the password Mark Feltham. And Mark Feltham Productions viewers are getting a special gift. Click on the link below to get 13,000 gold and 1 month of premium subscription for free. The offer is available for only 30 days, so click the link in the description, choose a country and fight your way to victory in epic real-time battles. On the 16th of April 1945, the Soviets had launched their final operation to capture Hitler's capital. In 3 days of extremely heavy fighting, the Red Army, taking huge casualties and losing hundreds of tanks, smashed through the last significant German defensive positions before Berlin on the Seelow Heights, east of the city. The shattered German units fell back into the city itself, or became progressively trapped in pockets like the Ninth Army, as Soviet forces fought to encircle the city before fighting through to its center. Adolf Hitler decided to stay put and took charge of directing the defense of the city. He desperately searched around for some way to break the Soviet encirclement, which would soon be complete, and save the situation by counterattacking. Hitler noticed that the 12th Army was still in position to the west of Berlin, its mission to guard the line of the Elbe River to prevent an American advance on the German capital. Hitler ordered that the 12th Army ignore the Americans, who it was thought would not advance much further, and fight through the Soviets to reach the encircled 9th Army. Then together the two armies would relieve Berlin and save Hitler. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel, the head of the German army, visited the headquarters of the 12th Army at Alterhölle, 37 miles east of Magdeburg, to brief its commander, General Walter Wenck, on what needed to be done. Keitel came straight to the point at the meeting at midnight on the 22nd of April. "Liberate Berlin," Keitel exclaimed. "Turn your available forces and link up with the 9th Army. Get the Führer out. Wenck, you're the only one who can save Germany." If Hitler and Keitel thought that Wenck would blindly follow such an illogical order, they had picked the wrong man. Wenck told Keitel what he wanted to hear, and once the field marshal had left, Wenck called his chief of staff, Colonel Gunther Reichhelm, to a meeting. Relieving Berlin was a hopeless task, said Wenck. The 12th Army was too weak. "However, here's how we will actually do it," outlined Wenck over the situation map. "We will drive as close to Berlin as we can, but we will not give up our positions on the Elbe. With our flanks on the river, we keep open a channel of escape to the west. It would be nonsense to drive towards Berlin only to be encircled by the Russians. We will try to link up with the 9th Army, and then let's get out every soldier and civilian who can make it west." Part of that operation would be a drive on Potsdam, whose 20,000-man garrison was surrounded but still holding out. Wenck ordered that a thin line of outposts be left facing the largely immobile Americans, while what strength remained was flung against the still disorganized Soviets, whose vanguard forces were beginning to solidify into a ring of steel around Berlin. If the 12th Army could capture Potsdam, it might still link up with Berlin itself and provide an escape route to the west. At the same time, the trapped 9th Army would attempt to fight its way out of the pocket and join up with the 12th Army and retreat west as well. The 12th Army's 20th Corps would make the main thrust towards Potsdam, under the command of Cavalry General Karl Erich Köhler. For the final German offensive of World War II, Köhler deployed 3 new infantry divisions to make the assault. These divisions, all raised earlier in 1945, represented the late-war German army perfectly, each being a collection of understrength units and patched-together regiments drawn from a variety of different sources. On the attack's left flank was the Ulrich von Hutten Infantry Division. Founded at Wittenberg on the 30th of March from the staffs of the destroyed 56th Infantry and 18th Panzergrenadier Divisions, its regiments were drawn from another broken formation, the 190th Infantry Division. Its armoured support consisted of a dozen or so Panzerjägers or tank destroyers, the ubiquitous Hetzer, which also equipped the Panzerjägerabteilungs of the other 2 20th Corps divisions taking part in the offensive. The division also had a few new Waffenträger 88mm tank destroyers, an 8-wheeled SD-KFZ 234-3 heavy reconnaissance armoured cars. The division was commanded by the experienced Generalleutnant Gerhard Engel, holder of the Knight's Cross with oak leaves. In the centre of the attack was the Scharnhorst Infantry Division. It was made up of about 80% officer cadets, trainee NCOs and soldiers about to begin NCO courses in the Dessau area. The second tranche of personnel were former Luftwaffe ground personnel and the combat-hardened veterans of 2 shattered infantry divisions, the 167th and 340th. It also had some Hetzers, a few Stug assault guns, and some mobile flak cannons, and was commanded by Generalleutnant Heinrich Götz, another Knight's Cross with oak leaves holder. The offensive's right flank unit was the responsibility of the Theodor Körner Infantry Division. Formed on the 4th of April 1945 at the Döberitz military training area from combat-experienced survivors, the 215th Infantry Division, and some 7,500 RAD personnel. The RAD, or Reichsarbeitsdienst, was a paramilitary labour service of the Nazi Party. Its personnel had already received some military training as part of their service in the RAD, and that they had then completed 8 weeks basic infantry training with the army. There were also officer cadets from Döberitz, convalescents, and soldiers on leave who could not reach their original units. The Theodor Körner Division was under the command of Generalleutnant Bruno Frankiewicz. The assaults would be supported by ample artillery fire, as Wenck had many supply barges packed with ammunition, supplies and food stranded in his area. But how well these reconstituted forces would do against the battle-hardened Red Army was anyone's guess. The offensive opened on the 24th of April, when the Theodor Körner Division, supported by what remained of the 243rd Assault Gun Brigade, launched an assault northeast out of the Niemig area. The attack preceded by a heavy artillery barrage. Due to heavy refugee congestion on all the roads leading west, the largely infantry attack went cross-country. The Theodor Körner struck elements of the Soviet 5th Guards Mechanized Corps, which was not expecting such a strong, even fanatical assault, and the Theodor Körner Division managed to reach the outskirts of Treuenbrietzen, 21 miles south of Potsdam. Furious fighting raged around the town. The Germans managed to briefly recapture the town before being pushed back. On the 25th of April, the Centre Force, the Scharnhorst Division, launched its assault in the most spectacular part of the offensive. Advancing on the Beelitz area, the Scharnhorst, behaving more like the German army of 1941 during Operation Barbarossa, caught the Soviet 6th Guards Mechanized Corps on an exposed flank, and penetrated the Soviet rear areas, capturing complete Red Army units, including tank repair depots and supply convoys. The movement created panic on the Soviet side as the Scharnhorst managed to push forward an astounding 11 miles into the Soviet positions. By late afternoon, the division's reconnaissance element had reached the health resort at Heilstätten-Beelitz, only 15 miles from Berlin, and ejected occupying Soviet troops. The resort was being used as a huge field hospital and clinic, containing over 3,000 German wounded soldiers and huge numbers of evacuated sick children from Berlin. For 3 days, Soviet troops had occupied the resort, looting it and assaulting female staff. The Scharnhorst division secured the vicinity, and plans were made to evacuate everyone west 50 miles to the Elbe at Barbie. Another furious battle developed around Beelitz as the Soviets rushed in reinforcements to stop and then crush the German attack. On the left flank, the Ulrich von Hutten division advanced northeast of Belzig towards Potsdam. It forced the Soviets back some miles. German attacks could get no further as heavy Soviet air support began to pound the 3 divisions, and heavy tank support broke the semi-encirclement of the town of Treuenbrietzen by the Theodor Körner division. Although the German 20th Corps was able to hold on to its positions for several days, the strength and sheer weight of numbers of the Soviet opponent ensured that they could not break through to Potsdam or Berlin. At the same time, the encircled 9th Army tried to fight its way towards the 12th Army, but that's a story that will be the subject of another video in the near future. General Wenck abandoned the operation on the 28th of April 1945, 2 days before Hitler's death in Berlin, reporting to the German High Command that his entire army was being forced back. No further attack towards Berlin was possible. The remnants of the 12th Army retreated through the Halbe forest and trudged west to surrender to the Americans at the Elbe River. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton, details below. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon, details in the description box below.